Working in retail is never easy, especially when you have to deal with a bunch of crazies. Welcome to this episode of Tales from Retail. Our first tale is from Halloy. I work for a hardware store. At the customer service desk, I work the early shift. We have a lot of regulars, contractors, and do-it-yourselfers alike. Well, one customer, we'll call him Davis, is a complete D-bag. Exceptionally narcissistic, expects to be greeted with joy and thankfulness at his mere presence. Well, he doesn't get that. It almost seems that with every shopping experience, less people are willing to help him and are suddenly otherwise engaged. This tale happened yesterday. Davis enters at 6:30 a.m. and immediately asks, "Who can I have?" I know I must have looked at him in a certain way because I loathe him already. So I tell him who's in the department that can help him, and he tells me he's not going to be doing any loading of anything because he doesn't work there. After the manager is called over to explain that either he can do it with assistance or he can place an order and it will be pulled in the standard window of 1 hour. I'll spare you the details, but after a very hostile encounter, I've decided I will no longer assist Davis when he comes in. If I'm alone, I'll call someone to come assist him, and should he persist, my sole reply will be, "You can't tell me what to do. You're not my boss. You don't work here." I hate people sometimes. You gotta love people like this. They walk around thinking they're a complete solar system or something, like they're the sun in the middle, everything revolves around them, when in reality, they're like Pluto who got kicked out of the group.
Of course Pluto's a planet, son. I learned that in the 3rd grade.
Well, yeah, but, they changed it.
Morty, nobody changed the planets.
I just Googled it. Pluto's not a planet. They changed it in 2006.
Poor Pluto. This next tale is by Doc Rules. I was covering a shift at a store that wasn't my own, helping a former manager I was friends with, so I already felt a little bit fish out of water. It was already an abrupt change that in this store, the people were ruder and more in a hurry than I was used to. I would greet every customer, and instead of answering my query as to how their day was going, they would just blurt out their order. "How's it going? Marbles? Hi, how are 20 bucks on pump 7? I got much more accustomed to this as years went on, even expecting it, especially closer to a city, but I regret not standing up for myself on this one. "How are you?" "Spam and skull." Spam and skull? Spam isn't kept back here. It's in the aisle. "Spam and skull, hurry up." Me confused. "I'll go get the spam for you if you want, but..." "Spam and skull, spam and skull." "Okay, I'll go get the spam in a second. Why don't you tell me what flavor of skull you..." "Spam and skull? What are you, a fucking retard? Put your hand on the skull. Now to the left. Left one more. Oh, now you got it. Where do they even find you people?" I looked where he was pointing, and it was in fact skull in spearmint flavor. The thick New England accent led me to believe he wanted canned meat, but I was clearly mistaken. I made the sale and led him on his merry way. My company wasn't great about standing up for the employees in situations like this, but I still regret serving him. I later became a manager in this company and would never stand for customers talking to my crew this way. It at least ranks up there with comical misunderstandings that have happened in real life. Thanks for reading. I'll be the first to admit I'm really bad with accents. I don't know what the malfunction in my own brain is. I have a very difficult time understanding very strong accents. But in this case, if somebody was rude to me because I couldn't understand them, I'd just tell them to fuck off, whether I was working somewhere or not. This next tale is from Electronic Pie 6645. Short but sweet story. Took place about 12 years ago. I was working the photo counter at my place of employ, a pharmacy with corner store attached. Emphasis on corner. On this chilled early spring day, my photo counter was greeted by a regular customer. He was a stern-faced gentleman in his late 60s. He was also a little bit of a paranoid. However, it wasn't unwarranted. He did work as a security officer before retirement. Let's call him Mr. P for Mr. Paranoid. So as usual, he comes in to drop off and collect a roll of film. Remember, 12 years ago. I go into my corporate pre-recorded procedure. "Can I get your phone number, please?" To which he responds with his own prepared line, which was said far more angrily. "I don't say my phone number out loud. Look me up by name. MR.P." I then do the far more tedious lookup by name method, and there are more than one Mr. P's in the system. I would sigh and roll my eyes, but my soul has already left my body and I lack the energy to even be apathetic. So, gotta confirm, I ask, "So is your phone number two-digit number?" To which he gets angrier. "I don't say my phone number out loud for a reason, you fat butthole." Ah, a fat butthole. Changing it up, I see. Last time it was oversized moron. "So that's a yes," I say out loud, and we go through the now standard procedures of drop off and pick up, info, photos, and currency exchanged. Well, being Mr. P, he must check all 27 of the photos in the pack before leaving, so he steps aside. From behind him in line appears a customer I've never seen before or since. She was a short woman, dark hair, and a genuine honest-to-God smile on her face. She spills onto the counter half a dozen rolls of film or disposable cameras, and because the corporate brainwashing, training is so ingrained, I ask, "Can I get your phone number, please?" She begins, and halfway through, Mr. P realizes that someone is committing the deadliest sin of vocalizing numbers. So he reaches over to her, puts a hand on her shoulder, turns her to him. He looks her dead in the eyes and says in his angry grandpa voice, "Don't tell him that." Well, that was probably the most wrong thing he could have done, 'cause the woman snaps. First, she slaps his hand off of her shoulder. Then, in a rapid-fire assault of words, she cut into him. "Don't you touch me! Didn't your mother raise you not to interrupt?" And my favorite, "He is just doing his job." Well, he never. Mr. P just stuttered and wandered out the front door, tail between his legs. She turned back to me and continued giving me her number, as if the last 45 seconds never happened. I hate to admit my pettiness, but someone got the employee discount on like half a dozen rolls of film. You know, kudos to her for standing up to this complete stranger Mr. P that comes out of nowhere and tries to, bleed his paranoia onto other people. Like seriously, if you want to be paranoid, that's on you. But don't try to make other people feel the way you do. This next one is by TalesFromRetail. Saw a story on here that reminded me of this incident that happened a few years ago. Where I used to work, our store was undergoing a renovation. If you were to look at the front of the store, the main entrance, which were just regular pull-open doors, was on the left side of the building. But with the renovations going on, it was decided that the main entrance would be moved to the center of the building with new automatic doors. When the construction was complete, there were still renovations going on the side of the building where the old doors were. So there was fencing up all around the doors, with signs hanging on the fencing saying that the new entrance was located just further down the building. One day I was working around where the old doors were located, and I saw an older woman, maybe late 50s, early 60s, trying to push past the fence, going through deep snow that the fence was partially buried under, to get to the doors. So I go out the old doors and inform the customer that this is no longer the main entrance and that the new main doors are located just at the center of the building. This woman looked at me, seemed to be taken back, and get that twitch that you see when people get pissed off, and she storms back to her vehicle and drove off. I just laughed. Another case of customers not paying attention to signs or not using their heads. See, in something like this, I don't understand why she would turn around and walk away unless she thought that the store just didn't exist anymore because she couldn't go in her preferred entrance doors. I don't know. And our final one is also from TalesFromRetail. So this story happened not long after the last story that I posted yesterday, but I'll give a quick summary. Where I used to work, the main entrance of the store was moved to the center of the building, while the old original doors would be the entrance to a garden center. Because of this, we moved the checkout to where the new doors were, and put customer service where the checkout used to be. And above each station was a large sign saying checkout and customer service. One day working at service, I had a customer needing something, and after getting him his item, he starts to open his wallet. I say to him, "Sorry sir, the checkout is now down over where the new main doors are." This customer, for lack of a better term, slammed his wallet shut and angrily said, "You should have a sign here saying this isn't a checkout." I look up above my head, pointing at the sign, and said to him, "The sign above my head says customer service, not checkout." He said nothing, just grabbed his item and marched off. I feel like a lot of people, even when there is a sign up, they'll try to claim that they didn't see the sign or that a sign wasn't, existing, even though it clearly did because they just weren't paying attention. You just have to love dealing with customers like that. Alright, that's enough tales for the day. Well, that wraps up this episode of Tales from Retail. If you liked the video, please drop a like, share my content on all of your social media, subscribe if you haven't already, and make sure to hit that bell so you're notified every time I upload, and drop a comment down below. It really helps with the algorithm and helps new people find my channel. Thanks for watching, thanks to my patrons, have a great day and stay safe out there.